Welcome to Let's Not Talk About That, the podcast where we definitely won't bring up the awkward, the off limits, or the things everybody's thinking but nobody wants us to say out loud. Except we probably will. I'm Tamiko.
And I'm Tracy.
Every episode, we'll dive into the conversations we're supposed to avoid, from the uncomfortable to the unbelievable, with honest humor and just enough sarcasm to keep it interesting. So buckle up, lower your expectations, and let's not talk about that. So this week, what are we talking about?
Trusting joy.
Wow, trusting joy. That's a good conversation. I feel like we've been talking about that though for the last year?
Yes.
Yeah, almost a year.
Yes. Yep. Or over. Over. I think we graduated when we got our tattoo.
Oh yeah. We haven't talked about that, but
yeah.
I guess we're gonna talk about it. We got some tattoos. This winter?
The first of the year, January.
Yeah, January. And one of our tattoos is just simply the word joy, because we both recognize that we're in a place where we had not been trusting joy. We were at a place where we both wanted to learn how to embrace joy and how to accept it and recognize it, that it's ours. Like we have a right to it.
Yeah, I think for many people, we could tell them to have fun or have joy. You know, like we say that word, like the clip I talked about with Michelle Obama talking about you having to schedule joy. We schedule work, but we have to schedule joy. If you don't know what joy is or you don't trust joy, you don't
even know how important it is to schedule.
No, not at all. You know, and I think for many of us, that's it. You know what I'm saying? It is learning to trust it.
Yeah.
You know, to want that to be in your life where it won't make you feel uncomfortable or unfamiliar because you're just used to the pain, the drama, the disappointment. You know, like, yes, you know, a lot of us don't trust it. We have to trust it.
Yeah, I know in my own personal experience with joy, but I have had moments where it's like things are going good. I'm having a good time. Like, you know, I'm enjoying myself. There's happiness. But there's always a thought in my mind like, okay, this is not going to last forever. Or what's around the corner or what's about to happen. And you're walking on eggshells, which does not help you enjoy and embrace joy.
But I feel like you're not enjoying it if you're looking or embracing for the impact.
Right, you're embracing
so you're
impact.
Already out of that moment.
Right.
You know, I used to tell myself a lot of times I couldn't trust the wins because when the win happened, I was always on to the next thing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So with the prime example, when I realized this and learned this is when my kids graduated from high school. So here it is. I couldn't wait till they graduated from high school and the prom happened. You can't enjoy the prom because you're thinking about the graduation happened. You can't enjoy the graduation because I'm thinking about him going to school.
Or no, you're thinking about the open house.
Thinking about the open house. And then I'm thinking about the school. It's always the next thing that I'm embracing for and not living in the moment.
You can't enjoy the moment.
Yeah. So this is, you know, to help people before you can obtain the joy, you got to trust it.
Yeah.
You have to know that it's real.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. I want to kind of speak to, I would say, kind of our process of walking through or even exploring joy. Last year, we spent a lot of time debriefing after our weekend saying, did you have a good weekend? Or you didn't do anything wrong. Like, why can't you just be okay with the fact that, you know, you had a great weekend. You didn't do anything wrong. Nothing happened out of the norm. It wasn't a damage to your character or anything like that. You didn't compromise yourself at all. But we were so unfamiliar with trusting joy that we couldn't even have fun in those moments.
Yes. Yeah. But then where did that come from though? So to me, that has to go back to the fact that we said we're not doing anything wrong. It was the fact that we believed that we was.
Yeah.
So where did that come from?
Well, that's learned behavior though. That's learned. That's taught
behavior not to trust joy.
I don't think the intention was to teach us not to enjoy joy. I don't think that was the intention, but at some place we learned that it was not okay to be joyous or to have joy to be happy or to, enjoy yourself in a non, in certain environments, let's say.
Yeah, I mean, I get that. I'm saying, where do we pick this up from? Where did we learn this from? How did we recognize that we didn't trust joy? Because we saying this, but that can't be like, we recognize, hey, I don't trust joy. So how do we recognize that we don't trust joy?
I know for me, it was me always bracing for impact. Even in those moments where I was enjoying myself, I say a thing, and I say this all the time, and you and Jesse mock me all the time. I could be having the time of my life, and out of nowhere, I'll be like, I gotta go. That's me not trusting joy. I'm having a good time. I'm not doing anything wrong. I'm not in a dangerous situation, but I gotta go. Because, so I'm holding myself back from just leaning all the way in to whatever I'm experiencing in that moment. I won't trust the moment. So that's me recognizing, oh, maybe I don't trust joy because nothing's wrong here.
Yeah. And I think for our society, it's been placed on us, that that's been in the TV shows we watched when we was little kids in our generation. Like Good Times was a big TV show, but they never did make it out the hood. Every time they got close, something always happened. Yeah. And this is what we grew up on, so even that, and along with hello. And even along with growing up in the church, we was taught that the joy is God's, not ours.
Yeah, the joy of the
and
Lord.
What gives us joy is us obeying God. So that was, that was a struggle.
Yeah.
Trying to find a balance. So it's either, do I trust joy? Either something bad is gonna happen, or I'm doing something wrong.
Right.
So when those joyous feelings came, like, okay, am I doing something wrong, or what's bad is right around the corner and that's gonna happen. So to me, that was when I recognized that, hey, I got some trust issues, and and I think the research for me and recognizing that I didn't trust joy was realizing that I had trust issues.
That was the start.
So then I started naming the things I did not trust.
Okay.
And joy was on top of the list.
Okay.
It was on top of the list. Yes. I remember being young looking for books on how to enjoy life.
Wow.
And I'm in my late 20s.
Yeah.
I'm in my early 20s, and I'm trying to read a book from Joyce Myers on how to enjoy everyday life.
Right.
And then that being added to the fact that, joy is not for me, it's for God. When
you
you're
believe that?
God, I learned that.
Okay.
I'm not going to say that's what was taught, but that's what I learned. And what was presented before me. So, because I have to realize that we can share the same parent and give the same message, and one person learn something and another person learn another. So I'm going to own it. This is what I learned.
That's what you learned
from my experience.
Right.
Yes.
That's good. That's a good way to put that.
Instead of,
that's a good way to put it.
Yeah, so that's what I learned. I learned that, joy was God.
There was joy in Christ alone.
In pleasing God. The joy of the Lord is my strength. Him being happy. about what my sacrificing.
So this ain't my joy. This is.
This here.
And that's literally one of my questions is like, is this my joy to have? Or is it somebody, like, you know what I'm saying? Is it mine to have?
Yes, it is. I truly believe that now. You know,
I believe that too.
I truly believe that. Yes. You know, so, because, yes, I truly believe that. I'm not going to get off of this. Yes.
Yeah.
I truly believe that.
Yeah.
So, this is ours to have.
Yeah. Yeah.
So what do we do to help change that? Once you recognize that you don't trust joy.
Right. How do you be intentional about actually you and I think it's hard to even just say how do you embrace joy or how do you learn how to trust joy. You got to become familiar with joy. You got to name it. You got to you got to not just name it, but you got to introduce yourself. Hi, Joy. How are you? Like, get familiar with it like it's a friend.
That's good. That's really good.
Yeah. Because it's foreign, right?
Yeah.
So anything foreign, initially, we want to reject anyway.
Yes.
So no, I got to open the door. I got to let joy in. I got to welcome it. Hey, welcome. I got to roll out the welcome mat. I got to make room for joy in my life. So stop holding on to the things that are not giving me joy, but embrace the things that are bringing me joy and trust that it's okay.
I mean, I think that's the issue is trusting it.
Yeah.
You know, I think that's the bigger part. People have it, you know, but they don't recognize that this is supposed to be something I do. This is joy is for me. I'm supposed to be enjoying life, not just living life. You know, and that it is because if you enjoy it, then you seek after it more.
Oh, absolutely.
You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
We look to have it. It doesn't always have to be boots on the ground. You know, it doesn't have to all be work and no play. You know, so yeah.
I agree. I agree. I think, you know, once you recognize that it's something that has been foreign to you, and you know, you got to lean into it more. You got to be intentional. It doesn't just happen.
No.
Like it takes work, like everything in anything.
Yes.
Whether it's a trust issue, whether it's, you know, embracing joy, whatever, fitness, being in better health, you got to do something. You got to do the work. You got to explore those areas in your life where you feel like you have not allowed joy in, you know, and you got to do things differently.
Yeah, and I say start with the little things.
Yeah.
You know, lean into the little things that you know you like that brings you happiness.
Yeah.
That brings you that joy, that brings you that peace. Lean into those things.
Yeah.
You know, whether it is reading a book or, you know, lean into those little things, sitting outside, just the little things that you know that can make you happy. And the more you do those things, then look at, okay, now what do I want to do that I haven't done? You know, let's push ourselves to not just say this is the way, because it's gonna feel uncomfortable. I remember, you know, going through my process, listing things I wanted to do, you know, which is if it was just as simple as just going to the bar, sitting at the bar, you know, just sitting there enjoying the music by myself, whether I had company or not. Me finding that joy within Tracy and not always looking for it to somebody else to bring that to me. You know what I'm saying?
You were creating it. You created environments that were conducive to joy.
And I had to be intentional about it. I had to do things I'd never done.
Responsibility for your own joy.
Look. I want to do this. You know, let's see whether this is going to make me happy or not. But just the fact that I did it brought joy. You know what I'm saying? But I can't say what I don't want to do or don't like to do if I don't try it. So, but I will say start with the little things, because I hear people say, and it doesn't feel comfortable in the beginning. You know, that nervousness comes, that anxiety is gonna be there. You know what I mean? So don't look for that to go away. And don't look for that to overshadow the joy from experience and seeing the joy. You know,
don't get so overwhelmed with trying to plan it out that you can't enjoy it. In the moment.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
So that is
I get that.
mhm.
I think it's a challenge. I know for me, in my own experience, even getting to a place of, okay, what is it that I like to do?
Yes.
What being able to figure out what brings me joy, especially being a mother, having raised children. When you think about it, my children are now, a lot older, 30 and 25. The girls are 25. But when they left home, having to really, okay, what do I like to do? What do I want to eat?
Mhm.
Because you've spent your entire, 18 plus years with your children.
Mhm.
Everything that you've done, literally, they've kind of dictated what you gonna do, when you gonna do it, how you gonna do it, what you gonna eat, all of those things. Now I'm in a different stage of life where, okay, now I get to figure out what is it that Tamiko likes, what brings Tamiko joy, and that's not dictated by anybody else's influence,
Right.
and being comfortable with that, being comfortable even enough to ask myself those questions, and be okay with, well, I don't know. Today I don't know, or maybe this worked for me yesterday, but today this ain't it. This ain't giving it to me. So being able to make those minor adjustments to make sure that I'm doing stuff that is feeding me and bringing me joy, and creating environments that will bring more joy.
Yeah.
I think that's important.
Yeah, I think again, joy should be on one of the top 5.
Oh yeah.
Like how you seek your success.
Oh yeah.
How you seek your peace. How you seek your healing.
Yeah. Yeah.
So anything that you want, you have to be intentional about
Absolutely.
it. So and joy should be on that top 5. It really should be.
It should be. I don't think we give it enough attention. And then we sit back and wonder, why am I so miserable? Why I feel so low? Why do I feel so, why I feel like this dark cloud over me? You're not being intentional.
No, because you're sitting there at home.
Because you're allowing it. Right. You're not moving.
Saying, I ain't got nowhere to go. It's a big old world out there.
Yes.
You ain't got to spend no money.
Yes.
You can go for a walk.
Yes.
It's a big old thing out there that's full of joy.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's full of joy.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
So what are some things that you do now that you've learned how to lean more into joy? What are some things that you incorporate in your daily life, would you say? Or is there anything that you try to incorporate in your daily life that brings you joy?
That I try. It's a lot. I think, right now joy is important to me. You know what I mean? So waking up early so I can have Tracy time before I have to start my day is very important to me. And that gives me joy, gives me the joy I need to go to work.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because I gave me my time.
Yeah.
I
prioritize you.
Tracy, before the thing. And then I've learned to be in the moment. Not to, if I'm at work and I'm doing here, then I'm at work and I'm doing here.
Yeah.
If I'm crocheting, I'm crocheting. Wherever I'm at and I'm surrounded with people, I try to be in the moment.
In that moment,
helps me not to. So if I'm crocheting, if I'm doing podcasting stuff, then this is about podcasting stuff.
Right.
Tracy, you can't think about crocheting when you're doing podcasting stuff.
Right.
And when I'm working, then let me be engaged with my clients.
I'm sorry. I just had a blurb because you're saying that. I'm sorry. I want you to finish your statement. And then I have a story to tell after you finish your statement.
No, tell your story.
And it's appropriate for you to keep all of this here as much as you said. If we're talking about podcast stuff, then no, Tracy, you can't crochet. However, Miss Man was like, I could really be over here doing this flower right now. And you picked up your flower and got to crochet.
But we had finished our notes.
We were not finished, ma'am. You had not wrote anything on your note card.
So, but now crochet.
This is all a process. We're learning.
All a process. But crocheting also clears my mind.
I agree with that. Yes, it allows you to process.
Yes.
That's funny.
Yes. So, I need to, the other thing though was for me is I had to learn how to enjoy rest.
And not feel guilty.
Yes.
Not feel guilty for sitting down.
Yes.
Even though you got stuff that needs to be done.
Yes.
But not feeling guilty. No, it's okay for you deserve to sit here.
Yes.
And rest. Because rest is necessary. Rest is as necessary as water, as food.
And then to be okay with what makes you joy, what makes you happy versus what makes somebody else happy. Because joy looks different to everybody. Different things brings that joy. The feeling might be the same for everybody, but what might make you happy and what might make me happy might be two different things. Because like on Fridays, you be wanting to get out and get popping. Fridays for me, no, I don't want to people. I just want to sit and chill and relax right here with me some good music and me a good drink. And I be good. But you've been did that all week long.
Yes, because what we do professionally is so
it's too
different.
Right.
I work from home and lead very much a sedentary life.
Right.
Sitting behind a desk when I'm not traveling for work. And you are peopling all week.
Right.
So of course you want to disconnect and not people anymore. And on Friday, I'm like, come on, where the people at? I want to people.
And we both looking for joy. And it's just all about joy.
We both seeking joy. We both seeking joy in the process.
So it's just being okay with what joy looks like for you versus what joy looks like for me. What brings me joy.
Yeah, and not feeling guilty about it.
No.
Not feeling guilty and or judged.
That's confidence. Hey, how you doing?
Hi, how are you?
Yeah. So that is having the confidence though. I think once you then did the work and reached a certain stage, then you have the confidence to say, no, this is and I'm happy.
Yeah.
I'm happy. Yeah.
Unapologetically. That's the key right there. Just being unapologetic about it.
But it is so prepare to be uncomfortable.
Oh yes.
Before the joy really hits, prepare to be uncomfortable. Prepare to feel the guilt, whatever the different feelings that's associated with you're not trusting. Prepare for those feelings to increase,
to come up and challenge you. Yeah, absolutely.
And you have to, and I'm saying prepare for it because when that feeling hit, I don't want you to back up. You need to lean into it. You got to push through this feeling. You have to challenge yourself and the fact that I don't trust this, but I want a better relationship with joy.
But that's a part of you standing up for yourself too. You know what I'm saying? And advocating for yourself.
Whether it's with joy or anything else.
That's with anything.
Yes, but a lot of us don't. We don't know how to do that.
No, we don't.
It's and I would say own your shit. You know, we like to put our issues on other people.
Oh, that's good.
You like to blame other folks for why you not happy or this is why I'm not happy. No, own your shit. This is me. I'm in charge of me being happy. So if this is what I want to do, whether so and so go with me or this will go with me, no, go do it.
I agree. You got to take ownership of your own life.
Can't nobody make you happy if you don't know how to make yourself happy.
Boom, boom. That part.
It can't.
That part. That part. You can't look for somebody else to fulfill in you what you are not even willing to put in the work to fulfill in yourself. I can't have an expectation for you to give me joy.
And then,
if I can't give it to myself.
And I want to take in consideration that you might have some people going through some really hard times. And is it possible to find joy during those times? Like somebody going through a loss, whether it's a loss of a job, of a career, and not knowing how they're gonna afford their bills next month. Whether they lost a family member or a friend, whether they're going through a divorce, can you find joy in those
even
times,
in those moments? I think if you get into practice right? If you get into practice, I think we talk about this a lot too when we talk about journaling, and we talk about why we when we journal, we go back through our journals, and it's like, oh, it's only when those tough spots. But sometimes you gotta stay in practice even when things are going well, even when things are good. Remind yourself, oh, this is joy. Hey, joy. So in those hard, tough moments, because life is gonna happen. Life be life, and it happens to all of us. And we all have our own sets of challenges. But if I've been constantly reminding and reprogramming my brain to trust joy, embrace joy, lean into joy, when those hard moments come, I do have some sense of relief. You know, I can say, okay, I can giggle at this moment. It's okay for me to be happy and sad in the same minute.
It doesn't take away.
It does not take away. Me being sad for a moment does not take away the joy that I've had the moment before, the joy that I have coming up.
Yeah, I was about to say, you being happy doesn't take away from what the struggle that you're really going through.
Absolutely.
Yes, it doesn't take away from that.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think at that times, that's why the things you do to get joy changes.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
So there might be a period of your life you might not be where things are free and you be able to be outside and be all about. You might be going through a rough time, and what brings you joy might be a soaking in the bathtub. You know, what brings that joy changes along with whatever you're going through. But you still have to constantly seek that joy.
Oh yes, and you got to know what it takes for you. So good example. Sunday, I was I don't know what was wrong with me Sunday, but I had a bit of a day where I was pretty sad. Don't know why that washed over me, but I knew what I had to do to take care of myself and to invite joy into even that moment and not to allow myself to stay down in the slumps. So I got up, got in my car, I went for a walk. And then first, let me say this, went to go where I normally go for my walk. I said, no, that's not going to do it today. Even though normally that's what does it for me, what would top it off? What would make it even better for me? Go walk by the water, Tamiko. You enjoy the water and you enjoy walking. That's going to get this off of you, and you'll be in a place, in an environment that you enjoy. Did that. By the time I got back home, that sadness had washed away. Wow. And of course, I did what it took for me to embrace joy. I had to find joy in that moment, in that day. So you got to know you got to do inventory, you know, and I think having to practice over this last year or so of accepting joy and taking ownership of it. And I do deserve it. So when sadness does come, no, I still have joy too. And it's mine to have. I ain't got to wait for somebody to come and bring it to me. I don't have to call somebody to say, hey, can you come over? Or, hey, can I come over? No, I can take care of this on my own.
I think, and then once you have, I mean, for me, it truly was the trusting because I realized, wow, this always been here,
always.
But I didn't trust it. Like I did, you know, it wasn't, for some reason, me not trusting it made it not real. You know what I'm saying? The dark part or the, you know, the sad parts or the working part, that was always bigger than the joy. So this is not real. Oh, I just laughed. Oh, I might have had a good time, but look, it's back to
doom and gloom.
Right. It didn't last. Now me trusting it, I know how to make it last. Yes. I know that it's never fleeing. Right. It's not, you know, this thing is not gonna come back. Even if something happened. I have more joy than I have that. That thing is so much bigger now. Like, and it's not going nowhere. Or, you know, like I plan for my weekends now. You know what I'm saying? I plan, okay, what am I gonna do today that's gonna be fun? You know, how am I gonna spend my weekend? You know, that because I'm off. I didn't work hard to deserve these days. You know, so
So share with our audience, if you can, some helpful tips on how to lean into joy. I know we had some conversation earlier about, like, not just, I know for us, for both of us, we're not just here to be loosely talking about stuff and not offering some solutions. So We want to be able to not just stir some stuff up and uncover things in ourselves and in you all, but we also want to be able to provide solutions and helpful tips that can help you along your journey in trusting and leaning into joy. So share some of those things.
Yeah, one of the things is again to recognize that joy is not a trap. It's not a trap. It's not trying to trap you or trick you.
It's a trick, right?
Into the next sad part that's about to come. You know, right? It's not a setup. It ain't trying to like, ooh, I'm trying to make you feel good, and then I'm gonna snatch the rug up
I'm gonna let you feel good because tomorrow, baby, it's about to be a ride.
You know, and sometimes it does feel that way. I remember it used to feel like this. I can't trust this because I got this going on, or I don't know what's gonna happen tomorrow, or this is not real. You know, so recognizing that it's not a trap, then you have to own the fact that you deserve it. I deserve this life. I deserve this smile. I deserve these laughs. I deserve this fun. I deserve joy.
Right.
So when you feel it, pause and breathe deeply and say, this is real, and allow yourself to feel it. Take that moment, you know, because we have to start changing our verbiage. You know, you have to make room for joy.
Right.
You know, we do. We have to allow joy and make room for it. You can't say, I want joy, and you spend all your time just working and sleeping.
Right. Right. Doom and glooming.
You know, I recognize that I had, you know, I went through a time where, you know, I think we all went through that time where we was watching Law and Order.
Oh, yeah.
Where everybody was comfortable and going to sleep on crime stuff.
Yeah.
You know,
that is not good anymore. No.
And then after that, I became a drama person.
Yeah.
You know, I like drama TV.
Yeah.
I like mysteries and just drama. Like, you know, so recently I sat there and I was going flipping through. I said, Tracy, you need some comedy. I just want to laugh.
Yeah.
And I'm not a comedy girl.
Right.
You know, but I have to find my kind of comedy.
Yeah.
What I think makes me laugh. You know, so I think that was me making room for it. You know, so make room for joy and allow yourself to feel it. Name it and claim it.
Yeah.
You know, when you find yourself being happy, say, oh, I'm happy right now.
This is mine. This is mine.
Yes.
Right. This is mine.
Yeah.
Yes.
And the more you allow it and the more you say it, the more room you keep making for it to grow.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, I'm happy with this. I'm enjoying this. Then you will make room. You will remember that. Okay, let me go do this because I really enjoyed this last time.
Right.
Okay. Right. So I need to make sure I do this more because I really enjoyed this. You know, so you got to name it and claim it.
Yeah. Yeah. I think we touched on quite a few different topics. Of course, recognizing that you don't trust joy. Once you recognize it, be intentional about embracing and leaning into joy. Create moments, not just, before you even start creating moments, do an inventory. Figure out what brings you joy as an individual. What brings you happiness? What brings you those feelings of peacefulness? And once you recognize that, be intentional about creating that for yourself. Because you're not doing it for anybody else. You're not doing it for spectators. You're doing it for yourself. Why? Because you deserve it. Not only do you deserve it, it's yours to have. So take ownership of it. And what else? Is that it? That's it. So join us on this journey as we continue to embrace and lean into joy. And as we uncover more topics, let's not talk about that. Thanks for joining us. Remember to like, share, and subscribe. And until next time, peace.
Deuces.